All right. So in the NBA season, we got the play-in game coming up, and not too long from that, we're gonna have all the awards show, and then we're gonna have the MVP. Now, I was like, we're really gonna talk about the MVP thing. I was like, if you ever seen any of my other videos, I already stated earlier that I was like, he is going to. There's some type of damn upset type of voting. Jokic is going to get his third MVP. Now, I don't think he should. I don't really want him to. I was like, not that I really care, but I don't really want him to. Now, I understand. That gonna make me sound like a little bit of a hater. And this is my thing. I don't dislike Jokic. I think the dude's awesome. I was like, he's one of those people that's like, you watch him and you're just baffled. Cause for instance, somebody like Wimby, you see it. It's all there. Don't get me wrong. I do think that the way that people talk about, and it's not seeing a lot of these things isn't about the players or the people themselves. It's about the people talking about them. That's what I sort of can't stand. So I'm like, I think really Wimby's good, but I was like, the amazement of like, we never seen. I was like, that really pisses me off sometimes. But not here talking about Wimby. But I'm saying like you could see it when he's 7'4" pulling up on a three. I was like, or whatever, however tall he is, just able to dunk without ease. But he's also out here yamming on people just over because he's just so damn lanky and stuff like that. But with somebody like Jokic, it doesn't pop up like that. But at the same time, like when he was playing against the Lakers in the playoffs, it was like, oh my god, no matter what Anthony Davis doing, he can't stop him. And you're just like, that's crazy because Anthony Davis is playing out of he's not playing out of the mind, but he's playing really damn good. So it doesn't make. I was like, so it makes sense that it's like, okay, yeah, Jokic fair MVP. And I was like, if you think about it, I was like, I was like, LeBron has multiple MVPs, MJ, and I was like, only a few people, not too many. I was like, Curry got two, and there's been some cases where it's like maybe people should have more. Kobe, Shaq. You can make a case that James Harden could have had a couple more. I was like, I think that CP3 should have had one. Um, but I was like, that one went to Kobe, so I was like, I guess I was like, I get it. Yeah. So what I hate is one. What I hate is there's no damn criteria for none of this shit. Like it leaves with like the All NBA. There's a little bit. It's like team. I was like, how did you play, and how did you also play against like your other contemporaries? Cool. I was like, coach of the year. Sort of also a little bit of like record and what I was like, who we thought you were versus what you actually were. And don't get me wrong, some of these sort of like contradict each other too. When it comes to the MVP, there ain't none of that. There ain't none of that. So like for instance, I was listening to JJ Redick doing his pickings of stuff. And it's one of them things where I'm like, JJ Redick's a really smart ass NBA player, analyst, whatever you want to say. He's hella smart. He's not just like somebody on the panels or the TV show that's like, yo, we got like 30 minutes to fill up. Let's just sort of talk here. Like he actually knows what he's doing. And even he was, because I'm like, some of the stuff that he would say for the All NBA or the coaches doesn't apply here at all to Jokic. Like for the coaches, it's like he picked the coach for Oklahoma City Thunder over Boston's coach. But he put Boston coach in there at number 2 because he's like, I'm gonna reward winning. But Oklahoma City got rewarded because of winning, but also because nobody didn't think they were going to be number 1 seed. Okay, cool. So when it comes to the NBA, to the MVP, he had like Brunson, he had Tatum, he had he had No, I think it might have been Giannis. It might have been Giannis, Brunson, Tatum, Shea, Luka, Jokic. And while you can make a case for, I mean, to be honest, I was like, you can make it. I was like, outside of Giannis, because of the way his team has been, Jalen Brunson, what was his expectation? Not to be anywhere damn close to this conversation or being the number 2 seed. So therefore, and I was like, and he's had to step up without Randall. I was like an OG for the later portion. Like, so I'm like, he stepped up his game a lot. Uh Tatum got the best record. I was like, Tatum's never gonna really out escape really any of this, but he got the best record. The expectation was there, but obviously it showed that being the best player on the best team doesn't mean worth a damn. Shea, expectations, they wasn't supposed to be here. I was like, his numbers are still roughly about the same as it was last year or whatever. So, but I was like, he had a good supporting cast around him, and they've been relatively healthy. They've been like pretty healthy the whole year. Luka, who would be my pick, I'm like, okay, so expectations has changed so many different times with them. I was like, from their first off season acquisitions of what they got, and then playing like pretty well, and then at some point they started like falling in the rankings. I was like, then they got a trade, and then they've been pretty much on a heater since then. But they also had a rash of injury with Lively and Kyrie. I was like, I think Green missed a good board at the time and stuff like that too. So Luka been doing this by putting on his back, having hella number of games where he just scoring ridiculous. I was like, wasn't it like 13 games straight of him having like 35, like with the triple double? And I was like, so he went and basically had his team pretty much where they was at in the play-in to pretty much like the fourth, fifth seed in that area. Then you got Jokic. I was like, pretty much, I was like, been hovering between 3 and 1. I was like, had a chance at 1, but pretty much been like 3. I was like, his stuff is really pretty much about the same. I was like, his team always been pretty credible. Like Jamal Murray has missed a good chunk of games here. So now the reason I picked Luka mainly is because of all the reason that we picked Jokic. So Jokic had proven that it don't matter really what your winning record is, because of like he's won it twice where he's never been like in this top portion of the. I was like, I know people was like, oh, he should have won it last year, and I was like, all right, cool, something for that too. But I was like, he's won it. I was like, he's won it when he's been a lower seed. He's won it when he didn't have his players around him. I was like, when he was dealing with injuries or your number 2 or whatever you want to say is not working. I was like, he's won. He's won a championship. And normally with that, we normally don't really pick you anymore again. But hey, whatever. I was like having hella games where he's going off. Also the triple doubles. That I was like, which we want to really start with Jokic, really start with Westbrook of like the triple doubles and also having a low seed. That what Jokic got. Why does this not apply to Luka? So all the time that we gave Jokic his MVP is all the reasons that Luka pretty much did this year. And normally that will get you the MVP. Because guess what? Also people like storyline. They don't like boring shit. And guess what? Jokic has, I was like, yes, is he a boring like personality? To an extent. Because I'm like, to each their own or whatever. But he's a boring player as far as how he could be media sized. I know I made up a word, but you get what I'm saying. But I'm like, whereas like Luka game isn't as much. Luka got a little bit more personality, even though we don't we talk about Luka, but I was like, it ain't like Luka out here like doing stuff intriguing and whatnot. But I was like, the storyline of like we put Luka in MVP stuff all the time, but he's never in there. To be honest, he's sort of like the Josh Allen of the NBA. But it also wasn't. I was like, but after the last like couple years, it wasn't really expected. We all like he has the potential, but it's not expected. And guess what? He beat expectations. I was like, so I'm like, there's that. There's the scoring craze that he went on. There's that storyline. Um, so I'm like, all the stuff that we do for Jokic hasn't applied to anybody else, and it's really weird. Like we was over here trying to get him his third MVP last year, but we're going to give him his MVP this year when he's relatively been about the same level of greatness. But we didn't do that at all for Giannis when he stayed at his level of greatness. Once I was like, we gave him his two, and we're like, go win a damn championship. Then he won a championship. And then we never. I was like, he's always in consideration, yes, because I was like, he's that great of a player, but he never realistically is going to get an MVP again. That window's sort of gone, and it's like, okay, but first of all, when Jokic won his two, and he got his full cast, I was like, granted, Murray and Porter coming off their injuries, I get why people wasn't like go win a championship. But we were sort of like, all right, you need to do better so you get further in the playoff. They just happen to win a championship. But then we come back next year and we're like, I think Jokic is going to win a champion. I was like MVP. It's like, that's weird. Now that also because Embiid won it last year and there was a lot of malarkey around it. Like, I don't think that the question of race is a bad idea. It's just the way that way went down. But also, I thought there was way more routes to go through that I was like, that's like so far on the list that I don't actually care. Because I was like, I don't think it factors in this type of way. I was like, could it be part of it? Yeah, but I was like, there's so many other ways. But I'm like, I wonder if that left a bad taste in people's mouth. We're like, okay, well now we got to give him the third one, or it's like, that was weird. So, and to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Embiid should have won it last year. I thought Embiid should have won it the year before. Because of the same stuff that we use for Jokic, where Embiid was playing like 2 seasons in a row, where his second banana, Ben Simmons, wasn't there nearly at all for nearly the whole year until pretty much like Christmas, and that portion. And he had them pretty much top 3 seed. I had him at like a number 1 seed for a bit. Next year, James Harden, not really there. In and out, all that other stuff. And guess what? Still kept him at the top. No, y'all care about that shit. Yeah, but with Jokic, he ain't got his people around. So, and see, this is what I'm saying. It's gonna sound like I'm over here hating on Jokic. It's like I'm not. I just dislike all the people and the talk and the discord around him. It's just one of them things that's like, you don't have to do all this. He proves every time that he's great. He shows how good he is. You don't have to keep doing these illusions to really make it sound like we gotta do this here. And I'm like, so that's why I'm like, what is the criteria for this? Because what we're doing for Jokic doesn't apply to any other damn player. Which, I mean, may go back to a little bit of what you want to say with Perk a bit, but hey, what do I know? I'm just sitting on my ashes over here just watching TV. I don't get to vote. I don't get to talk about none of this stuff. So, hey, maybe I'm just out here observing some bullshit. Yeah, so, I mean, and I was like, look, I'll probably go on another run again once they actually hand it to him or whatever as well, too. Because I was like, I don't have the article on top of my head of somebody else talking about why Jokic should win it or whatever. You know what? I was like, as a matter of fact. So, I was like, Get Up. They had Legler and they had Alan Hahn, whatever, and they basically, I mean, they had like McNutt and stuff like that too. But they basically was talking about Jokic getting it as well too. And they also was talking about the same thing of like you want to reward winning, but you're not rewarding winning. I was like, for like one, Anthony Edwards nowhere in this conversation about was okay. So we already know that winning isn't. And I know sort of like let's be honest, you're really choosing between who you like, and then you're using all these other things as that little edge of like proving your point. But everybody can do this, so that's why I'm like, you need to figure this out, because just giving it to Luka, I mean giving it to uh, Jokic, and then just being like they would like Luka had like 5 more games, and I guess maybe they would have caught the Nuggets. I don't know what they really meant by that. Like I'm like why do you need 5 more games to what? Just see him just keep doing it? Like I was like, his resume wasn't going to get any real different than five games. I was like, I mean, like, yeah. If you had like 20 games or something like that, sure. I was like, that's a big enough sample size of being like, oh yeah, he okay, maybe they got up to number one or whatever. But I'm like, they went on a hot streak just as much as the Nuggets did at the end. But I'm like, the team and the turmoil that he had to go through, I was like, that plays in the part. That's what y'all do. Y'all pick storyline people. Think about all the people who's won MVP pretty much the last like 10 years. It's all been more. It's all been with the storyline and who had like a crazy ass season out of nowhere and all this like and even then I know I compared it to Russell Westbrook, but even then I was like, nah, Russell Westbrook had a lot more bums than what Jokic had that year that he was in the playoffs. I was like, I know people were mad at the people he had playing, but better than Westbrook that 1 year. And I was like, who also probably needs a little bit more, but went bananas that season. Anyway, all this is giving me a headache. And I was like, look, I'll probably end up ranting again once he wins it this year. But hey, like I said, I don't. I was like, I don't. I was like, my shit's useless over here. Just over here talking to the screen. Anyway, let me know what you think. But until then, next time.